Morning, everybody. They're supposed to be serving a breakfast down here. Look at this. What a view. Morning in Sonora. Let's head down and see what's on the menu for breakfast. The Rascal looks okay. Torts didn't collapse overnight. Good deal. See you at the breakfast. Well, let's get the walk down. This is enjoyable. Crazy as it is. Not a creature stirring around here. This is the breakfast place.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm going to get coffee in a second.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably going to be a while. I don't know what's going on. So, all right, here's what's for breakfast. So have a safe trip, okay?
Oh yeah, you too. Have a good time.
Yep.
Oh no. Come back up.
It's a really old school bar there. Woman was just talking about how she had a bad day yesterday. You had a bad day. Would you like to lose your whole day shooting? Chilly in the morning. I don't know whoever the baker is, but Lord, they must have opened the oven door a few times. Everything kind of flattened down, didn't it? Been there, done that a few times. Happy and cheerful. Definitely one of my stranger but kind of cool in a wacky way lodging experiences in my travel, the Gunn House. And I asked the guy about running it, maintenance. Yeah, a lot of stuff to take care of. You can imagine 1850. Well, it's a crispy 43 degrees, but beautiful here on the streets of Sonora, and there's really not, you know, a ton of, there's some cool stuff, some cool people came out of here, but it's really known for its beauty and as being one of the more successful gold rush towns that survived and, well, exist till today. Let's look around a little bit. I love the way it's nestled down at the bottom of this little valley here. It's like the little Christmas town. Stuff's not cheap. 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, eco luxury living, $709,000. Jamestown. Hotel at Sonora Inn. This is the way into town. You can see that we are at the bottom of a valley here. This is a weekend warrior town, so it's a good thing I'm in here this morning about 8 o'clock before stuff gets crazy. Because when I got to town last night, yeah, the streets were pretty packed. Very neat, very clean, very well maintained. I've been curious why so many of these towns failed, these gold mining towns, and some succeeded and managed to hang on and have a second life as tourist attractions. I guess the reality is it's something called placer mining. And what placer mining is when you get down to a valley like this, and remember, rivers over time, hundreds of thousands, millions of years, they tend to cut deeper and deeper in and create things like valleys, and earthquakes lift the ground. So when you get these torrential floods and these tremendous volumes of water moving downhill, they tend to carry a lot of stones and gold with them, and it all collects in the riverbeds. And that's what they mean by placer gold. The gold is easily recovered by dredging out riverbeds and things like that, as opposed to hard rock mining, where you're taking drills and dynamite and excavating equipment and basically opening up the mountain. So once that gold would play out, there wasn't really a lot left to do in town, and the town would fold up and people would move on to the next place. In other words, it's placer mining is picking the low-hanging fruits of gold. Interestingly enough, Sonora was founded by mainly Mexicans. The Mexicans were the largest predominant population, and this place thrived. When Cinco de Mayo occurred, the battle, it wasn't even Cinco de Mayo, the Battle of Puebla down in Mexico, where the Mexicans were able to defeat the French in one battle, thus giving the roots of what we know as Cinco de Mayo. This was the first place in the United States when the news came of the victory. Well, they went ballistic, celebrating with dynamite and shooting off guns and rifles and lighting bonfires and just making merry and celebrating America's first Cinco de Mayo right here in Sonora. That's an interesting album cover. That's cool, the very first soapbox derby. 1941, crossing the line. Purse of $5. Look at how the town turned out. I want to capture this place at night and do a cinematic video. We're starting to be up in altitude here. This is about 1,500 feet, I think. As with most things though, success brings envy, and envy brings trouble. And for the Mexican mining community here, well, they got trouble in spades. By the early 1850s, the number of Caucasians moving into mining here was growing, and they thought it was unfair that natives of Mexico were coming in and displacing Americans in the gold fields. So they passed a tax on miners that they would have to pay I think $20 a week or $20 a month, which was a tremendously expensive tax at the time to stay on in mind. We can imagine this didn't sit well with the Mexicans, and lawlessness started breaking out, and shootings and just all kinds of mayhem here in Sonora. Of course, the tax, as the gold supply petered out, they did end up leaving anyway, and the $20 tax just hastened the decline of the town as people left, and they went through really hard times in the 1850s. I guess that's an object lesson in love thy neighbor. This looks like it must be county court building. They don't build them like that anymore. That's not going anywhere. Like a 5-foot drop off on the side here. You wouldn't want to be drinking in this town, that's for sure. But I do love this old architecture. The stuff I so enjoy seeing here today, and this probably by afternoon it'll be a mob scene here, so coming in the morning around 8 o'clock you have your best chance of seeing things, or on weekdays too, so bear that in mind. Gold country is popular, especially with people from the Bay Area. I saw this house from down the hill. Wow. It's probably all original ironwork on the sides too. Just a word of caution, if you're not in pretty good physical shape, this will be a very demanding walk. It's a very hilly town. Probably virtually impossible, except for Main Street, to get around in a power chair or a wheelchair. Not sure what the idea of Oddfellows is, but you certainly see them all over the West. They were just some of the most popular lodges in America, especially out in the West at that time. No idea. They're everywhere. I saw this house coming up yesterday, but it was dark. Look at this. Another amazing house. Definitely in need of maintenance though. So very cool with the original wrought iron fencing. Dr. Rankin, General Dentistry. It's a shame some of these places, there's so much to take care of. People having tendency as they get older just to let it go. I hope they're able to fix it up. As far as famous residents are concerned, born and raised here, Melvin Belli, who was known as the King of Torts in America because of really taking liability law to a next level. He was born here in Sonora. You might have seen him on Murder, She Wrote. He was kind of a gadfly. He liked to be the center of attention. But he did something very important. In the 1940s, manufacturer's liability law was really an unknown thing. And in the town of Merced, there was a gal that worked as a waitress in a restaurant. And the Coca-Cola guy came and stacked the cases of Coke, as he did every other day or week. And around lunchtime, she went to grab for one of the bottles, and it exploded in her hand, terribly cutting her. 5-inch deep cut, terrible. 5-inch long cut, required a lot of medical attention. Well, Melvin Belli ended up taking the case, and he won it for the first time ever, case against Coca-Cola. It set the precedent of manufacturer's liability law that if you produce something and the consumer uses it in a normal course of use and something goes wrong and injury results, the manufacturer can be held liable. Very, very important ruling in American legal history. He's buried here. He loved this town and came back frequently. Slim Pickens, did you ever see the movie Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Love the Bomb? The climactic scene where Slim Pickens is the B-52 pilot and he can't get the bomb bay doors to open properly and release the bomb, so he ends up riding it down himself. Waving his cowboy hat. Yeehaw! Yeehaw! Well, he loved it here in Sonora, and this is where he lived out his final days. That's going to be a wrap on the Sonora adventure. I will be putting up a cinematic video Sonora at night because it must be beautiful here when the sun goes down and all the lights come on. All I can say is this is a beautiful town. There's not a ton of history, but just if you want to step back into what I call real small time America, I don't think that you could beat a trip to Sonora. And a lot of little craft shops, some nice little restaurants, so it's a place that I'd recommend you check it out. In closing, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell for all notifications. I'd love to interweave travel with history and going all new places here, and I want you to be a part of it. So subscribe, hit the bell, and please share these videos out if you think people on your social media may enjoy them. And as usual, thumbs up are appreciated. On to our next exciting video.